What if I told you that a single mistake could poison an entire city for thousands of years? April 26, 1986, a date that changed history forever. A quiet night in the Soviet Union turned into one of the worst nuclear disasters the world has ever seen. But what really happened inside Reactor 4 of the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant? Was it human error, a design flaw, or something even more terrifying? It was supposed to be a routine safety test. Engineers at Reactor 4 of the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant were testing whether the reactor could still be cooled during a power outage. But something went horribly wrong. In the early hours of April 26th, operators made a series of fatal mistakes. They ignored safety protocols, shut down crucial systems, and pushed the reactor beyond its limits. At 1:23 a.m., disaster struck. So what exactly happened? As part of the test, operators reduced the reactor's power to dangerously low levels, causing instability. When they attempted to increase power, an unexpected surge occurred due to the flawed RBMK reactor design. Desperate to regain control, they pressed the emergency shutdown button, known as AZ5. But instead of cooling the reactor, the control rods, tipped with graphite, caused an even greater power spike. A sudden power surge led to a catastrophic explosion, ripping through the 1,000-ton reactor lid. A deadly fire erupted and radioactive material was blasted into the atmosphere. The world had just witnessed the worst nuclear disaster in history. In the first few minutes, no one realized the scale of the disaster. Firefighters arrived at the scene with no protective gear, unknowingly stepping into a death trap. The radiation was so intense that some of them would die within weeks. Among them was Vasily Ignatenko, a young firefighter who responded that night. Within hours, his body began to burn from the inside. Days later, his wife Lyudmila watched helplessly as he succumbed to radiation poisoning, his body so contaminated that she couldn't even hold his hand. Meanwhile, just 3 kilometers away, the city of Pripyat was still asleep. Over 50,000 people, including children, had no idea they were breathing in deadly radioactive particles. The government remained silent for nearly 36 hours before finally evacuating the city. The Soviet government tried to hide the disaster. The world only learned about Chernobyl when Swedish scientists detected unusual radiation levels. When the truth came out, it was shocking. Chernobyl had released 400 times more radiation than the Hiroshima bomb. As the crisis escalated, thousands of workers known as liquidators were sent to contain the disaster. Many of them knew they were on a suicide mission. They risked their lives to bury radioactive debris, build a sarcophagus around the reactor, and prevent a second explosion that could have made Europe uninhabitable. Chernobyl left behind a radioactive ghost town. To this day, Pripyat remains abandoned, frozen in time. The disaster caused thousands of deaths, birth defects, and cancer cases. The Soviet Union collapsed just 5 years later, with Chernobyl playing a key role in its downfall. Ironically, in the absence of human life, nature has started to reclaim the land. Scientists have observed that wildlife, including wolves, bears, and lynxes, have thrived in the Chernobyl exclusion zone despite the lingering radiation. But for humans, the effects of Chernobyl are still being felt today, with cases of cancer and genetic mutations appearing in later generations. How can we ensure that disasters like Chernobyl never happen again? What steps should governments and scientists take to make nuclear energy safer? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing historical stories.